This is the Alden Report.
Hey, it's Mike Alden. I hope you're enjoying the Alden Report as much as I am. I love bringing to you new and exciting people that add value to your life. I'm also super excited to announce my latest book, Bestseller Secrets. Listen, if you're an author, maybe you're thinking about writing a book, maybe you've already written a book, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to continue to grow your brand, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to bring in more leads, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you wrote a cookbook or a children's book, maybe you wrote a fantasy book, a self-help book, a tell-all book, a novel. It doesn't really matter. In my latest book, Bestseller Secrets, I give you all the information that I've literally spent millions of dollars trying to figure this thing out, and I'm going to give it to you absolutely free with my book, Bestseller Secrets. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. Again, it's bestsellersecretsbook.com. I give you all the information that I've spent literally millions of dollars trying to figure this whole world out. My books have gone on to do amazing things. I'm a 3-time Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestselling author. I've hit #1 on Amazon hundreds of times. My books have been the #1 book in the world against all books in every category. And I've also done this for other authors. And I'm giving you this information absolutely free. Just go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. You got to pay a small processing fee, but it doesn't really matter, again, because I've spent millions of dollars. And here's the other secret. You can do all this stuff yourself. If you don't have a team, that's okay. If you don't have a lot of time, that's okay. You read the information in my book, again, whether you just started writing a book, whether you've written the book, whether you wrote the book years ago, and you want to kind of resurrect it. In my book, Bestseller Secrets, I show you exactly what you need to do, and I'm giving you the book absolutely free. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com, download the book, take that information, use it to become a bona fide, legitimate #1 bestseller. I show you how to become a #1 bestseller in less than 24 hours. And again, I'm giving you this information for free. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. Again, it's bestsellersecretsbook.com.
This is the Alden Report.
All right. Well, my name is Michael Alden, and this is the Alden Report. We are here in Blue Vase Studios. During these times with the COVID and Corona, whatever we're calling it these days, sometimes I'm in my home office. Sometimes I'm here in the studio. I kind of like the studio a little bit better. I think it looks cooler. We got some better audio. But I tell you, I am super excited for my next guest. My next guest is a social media rock star. He is an e-commerce rock star, and he's doing some amazing things. And I have an interesting story, and maybe I'll wait for this intro, and we'll talk a little bit about it, how actually I met him. But again, he's doing some amazing things. He's grown his businesses to the tens of millions. I think he just crossed over the 20 million, maybe even close to 30 million mark. And it's just really awesome to watch what he's doing. And I got to be honest, for me, this is a little bit selfish because I want to learn from this guy because he charges tens of thousands to coach people and teach them, how to sell things online. So he is the go-to guy. Please help me welcome Dan Henry. Dan, thanks so much for being my guest.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, man. So I appreciate you coming on. So, for those of our viewers and listeners who don't know who you are, I'd just like for you to just give us a little bit of a background. Tell us a little bit about your story, how you kind of got to where you're at today.
So I'm Dan Henry, founder of getclients.com, and I specialize in helping people sell their advice online. And I delivered pizza for 7 years. And during that time, I really understood what it feels like to not want to work for somebody else. And over the years, I read a lot of books, and I tried to learn as much as I could about just entrepreneurship and sales and marketing in general. And I always had little projects I'd start, little companies I'd start, but they never really took off. And maintained, I just wasn't there yet.
Right.
And I got to a point where I made some bad investments, and I was so broke that I had to sell water bottles on the side of the road to pay the electric bill. And then I caught a break, and I started, offering services to business owners for marketing. I learned Facebook ads. I learned just some basic marketing skills, and went out and created a little agency and started. And that was before the agency thing was like big. And
Can I ask you? Can I ask you when that was? So I want to just cut you off. When was that? Like right around what year was that when you started doing that?
I'm terrible with years, but I'd like to say 2006, maybe early 2016.
Okay, right. So not that long ago.
No. I mean, that's when it was getting successful,
Right.
And then people started asking me how I did it. So I started doing like coaching sessions. And I remember I used to do like $200 an hour, just like real cheap.
Right.
And then I developed a course. And that's where I really fell into it and really found my stride. The first day we launched the course, I did $48,000. A week later, I did an encore presentation. I did $52,000. So I made six figures the first month. And that course was on local business marketing. It wasn't on like how to sell courses or anything.
Right.
And I went out and I just made $8 million just doing that. And then after about $8 million, what naturally happens is, people started asking me, hey Dan, how did you make so much money selling courses? Because what happens with courses is people will sell it. They'll make a bunch of money all at once, and then it'll taper off and they don't know how to maintain it.
Right.
And so people were seeing me consistently doing well. And so they asked like, hey, how are you doing this? And that's when I realized, maybe that would be my next offer, is teaching people how to sell their advice in the form of, coaching, courses, masterminds, events, even software. I had a successful software company towards the end there of that first $8 million run. And so I wrote a book, and it was called Digital Millionaire Secrets: How I Built an 8-Figure Business by Selling My Knowledge Online. That book became a Wall Street Journal and USA Today bestseller. It was number 6 on all of Amazon the week it was launched. Did really well. And I developed a coaching program, a higher end mastermind. And I just started, I stopped selling courses at that point, and we started taking people on as clients for, a higher level of access, actual coaching. We build out the systems for them and give it to them, and they just fill in the blanks. All of our clients get a collection of our best systems. We have multiple coaching calls a week. We really work closely at this point, because I found that, and this was one of the big shifts, was I found that selling your advice for a low price, like, $1,000 or $2, is bad for you, and it's bad for the client, because you can't give enough for $1,000 or $2,000. There's just not enough funds there to build out a product and a team to really truly help somebody and be able to work closely with them, because as soon as you start to scale it, it all falls apart. And it's bad for the client, because the client doesn't pay enough to be really committed, and they don't get that VIP red carpet service. So we made a shift and we started charging way more, like 10 times more.
Right.
We provided a much better product, a much better service. We got better people. People were committed when they came in, and the results they got were just far and above. We've created hundreds of 6- and 7-figure businesses from it. And so with that new program and all that, I scaled upwards of over 20 million now. And the really cool thing is we started, I'm a very focused person. Like, some people will make a couple $100 with a business and then they'll start another business. I just now started 3 new businesses after I hit 20 million in sales with my one business. And we can talk about this, but one of them is millionairecruise.com. It's where I do private consulting on my yacht. And I've owned that. I ended up purchasing a $2 million luxury yacht, and then having it as a business expense, because it's an actual business, and we do consulting on the boat in the Bahamas. And so I've been able to take that, what's normally called a liability, and turn it into an asset. And then we're releasing a productivity planner next month. And that company's called Plan Tomorrow. And in a few months, I'll be releasing a passion project of mine. It's called howtothink.com. And basically it's daily. The idea of that company is, you can achieve anything in life if you change the way you think. and we're going to be doing daily mentoring for just $7 a month, where they get a daily mentoring lesson for $7 a month. And that for me is like a passion project, because I normally charge a very high price to work with my team. And I wanted to put something out there to help more people for, without having to break the bank. And it's a personal development product. Cause I find that what really makes companies grow, it's not one marketing tactic or another. It's 99% mindset and the way you think about things. So,
now, this stuff is awesome just to hear. And, my businesses have generated hundreds of millions. And so I've been at it for a while. And I know that kind of that tipping point. I know where you're going on, when it happens. But for those that are listening right now or watching right now, it's two things probably going on. One, I think people say, man, that guy looks like he's like, 18 years old, but you're a little bit older than that. I'm sure you get that all the time.
If I had $1 for every time I've heard that, I'd have $30 million.
I'm good friends with Dean Graziosi. Okay. And Dean and I have known each other for years. I did one of his infomercials. I did a couple of his infomercials, and Dean's been dealing with that. Dean's older than me. I think Dean might even be, I don't want to say his age, but he's definitely older than me. But the reason why I say that is because, look, man, it's 2021. Obviously 2020 was a brutal year, and a lot of people are struggling, and you were struggling. Listen, I delivered pizzas, by the way, in high school and college. So you kind of dear to my heart. I owed a ton of money to the IRS, which is one of the first lines right on your website, which, by the way, is getclients.com.
Yeah, that's what actually really drove me to go out and start researching how to make more money. Because when I started getting on my feet, I got that letter that I owed $250,000 in taxes. And so I was like, well, now I got to make even more money. And that's when I started that's what really drove me to start selling the courses, because I saw people making so much money with courses. And then, the funny thing about that is I was able to hire a tax lawyer to reduce that down to about 50 grand.
Offer and compromise.
Yeah, exactly.
So, what I want to I want to back up a little bit again and by the way, I think you and I met. Do you remember when we met? We've talked about this. I don't think you know this, or you might.
Was it FHL?
So we met actually at the Trade Winds.
Oh,
and that was me. I don't know if you know that. So you want to tell the story?
The hammock?
Yes.
Bro, that was a million years ago.
That was me, dude. I got to tell this story. So I'm going to just tell the story, and then I want you to hear it, because I haven't had an opportunity to tell you the story. You and I have connected here and there, but so this is probably right around 2016. It was. That was
right when I was kicking off. Yeah.
So I'm at the Trade Winds Hotel in St. Pete with my family. It's great for kids, by the way. If you have kids, I know you have a son. If you have kids, it's an awesome place for kids. And I'm walking into the hotel, and it's still nice out, but the sun is setting, I think, a little bit. And I hear this guy, just pitching, and I'm like, I know that language. I know what he's saying. I know what he's doing. And I turn around and I see you sitting on the hammock, and I think it was your girlfriend at the time. She's running the camera. You're all mic'd up, and you're doing your pitch. And I'm like, I just gotta watch this, because look, I've been on TV for the past 12 years and selling products and services. I don't look the way I look right now, obviously, and I'm like, man, this guy's good, man. This guy's so good. So I don't know if you remember. So I reached out to you. I had one of my guys reach out to you. You guys talked a little bit, but I listened to your pitch, man, and I listened to your passion, and I could just tell, that where it was coming from was a place of honesty and sincerity, and the way you pitched it. I mean, you're a great pitch person, but the greatest pitch people, really, if it comes from the heart, and it's just not made up bullshit. And so that was the first time you and I met. And by the way, so that was 2016. So now it's 2021, and here we are finally talking. So I just wanted you to hear that story.
That's crazy. I remember that.
I remember the car you were driving. You were driving I think a Charger.
No, it's Camaro.
A Camaro. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow,
so,
man, I remember that conversation.
I pitched you on doing an infomercial. I wanted to do an infomercial with you. Yeah. I wanted to put again, because Dean Graziosi, How to Be a Real Estate Millionaire. We did that infomercial for him, killed him, put him back on the map. Really, he made tons of money on that deal and helped a lot of people and showed people, the whole real estate game. Tony Robbins, who you've obviously met, started in the infomercial space. And so
is that stuff still rocking these days?
Yeah, man, we're still it's different. The infomercial world is different. The way people watch TV and consume media obviously is different. But But yeah, there's still a shit ton of people that are watching TV. I had one on a couple of years ago about cryptocurrency, and that did really well. I should probably put it back on air with I think Bitcoin's at 40K right now. But
yeah, I know, and I'm very happy right now. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah. So that's where you and I met. So I just wanted to throw that. And then when I saw your background, really being, down and out and, from Chicago. And so I want to bring you back to like pre 2016, if you don't mind. And just tell us a little bit about, you're like, I think you were like living in your car or what have you. I mean, you're just really destitute. Like
maybe a few nights, but not.
But it wasn't good though, right? It was like you were in a bad spot, right?
Well, because what happened was, I actually owned a bar for a while, and I sold the bar because that's actually where I learned to do Facebook ads for my bar.
Right.
And I sell the bar, and I make good money. Like I made like 300 grand from selling that bar.
Right.
And then I was like, all right, I'm done playing. And this is, if I can give any entrepreneurial advice, do not try to be the next Mark Zuckerberg. Right. Don't try to go all in. That's so stupid. That's what people tell you when they're drunk at a bar after
I agree
100%. Conference. That's such crap advice. Okay. So I had like 300 grand in my pocket, and I was like, I'm going to go all in, man. And, to me, going on the way you go all in these days is you educate yourself. I should have taken that money and bought into masterminds, coaching, and honed my engine, not do what I did, which was I spent it all on developing a software that I thought was going to be the next big thing. And the week before we launched, Google released pretty much the same thing for free as a part of their suite. And I just sort of like, I was already bootstrapping it, and I just made a terrible investment and lost it all. And not too long after that, I was, basically, that's when I started selling water bottles on the side of the road,
right,
to try to pay the electric. It was just like I was starting to get up there, and then I just made a terrible mistake. And then I started, I took my knowledge of running Facebook ads for my bar, and I started charging local businesses, and I was doing good. I was making like 10, 15 grand, and then upwards.
Well, that's where I want that moment there. This is the part that I think a lot of people give up, right? They say that most people are, one step either from failure or success. And a lot of people just, give up either way. Right.
Yeah.
So you're like, you sell the bar, you get the 300K, you invest it in the software company, or this development, it doesn't work. So now, like mentally, right? We're talking about the mental side of things and the mindset. Things aren't going well, and you're trying to figure out what pulled you, what pulled you up and said, I'm going to do this. I learned this skill set. Was it a book you read? Was it a seminar that you went to? Was it someone else? Was it a mentor? Like what really clicked for you and said, man, I can actually make a run at this?
Well, that's exactly what it was. Up until that point, I always was of the mindset of why would I spend money on education or books when I can spend it on the actual business, which is like really dumb. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like when people say, well, I don't want to buy your coaching program because I'd rather just spend the money on ads, which is the most idiotic thing you could ever utter. Because if you don't know how to run ads, then you're just going to lose all your money in ads. It's like going to play blackjack, and you're like, well, why would I pay this blackjack master to teach me to play blackjack when I could just spend the money at the blackjack table? Then you go to the blackjack table, you don't know how to play blackjack, you lose all your money. Right. So, that's what I kept doing over and over again with business. And one day I had no more money to invest except for a few bucks. So I started buying books. I said, well, now I got all the time in the world. So I started buying books. And when I bought books and I read books, I learned things that were far more valuable to me than I ever realized. And I bought marketing, but I bought like Russell Brunson's books, and I bought books on sales and all this. And that's where I initially used that knowledge to start succeeding. And then, you get hit again. Right. And that's the thing is that there's a saying, it's not about everybody's heard this saying, but it's not about how many times you fall. It's about how many times you get up. But people they just view it as a saying.
Right.
They don't really dive deep into what that means. Like, for instance, think about this. This is how I thought about it, right? Okay, why did I fail, right? Like, why? It's not because life kicked me. It's not because the world's out to get me. It's because I made a bad decision. I invested in something without investing in learning how to do it. That is why I failed. So now, if I didn't know why I failed, then we have a problem. But I knew why I failed. So I go, okay, now when I go to do this next thing, now I'll know that was the reason, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. So I go to the next thing, and I made some money doing. I went and I learned how to market. I didn't just experiment. I learned, and then I went and I started charging for it. I made money, and then I'm like, okay, we're doing good. But then I get the letter from the IRS. Now I could have said, oh, just when I get up, life kicks me back down. No, life didn't do anything. Life is not. There is no such thing as life.
Right.
That's just that's a word. Okay, there's no entity out there named life.
Right.
And he's walking around messing with you. That's insane, right? So I thought to myself, okay, I get hit with this bill. So what did I learn? I learned that I made a mistake years ago. I didn't file my taxes properly. I didn't take care of it. Okay, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'm going to make sure I move forward. And I said, well, now I need to learn how to make more money. So I play what I call the good game. I believe everything in life is polarity, right? Everything has a 180-degree counterpart. So if something bad happens, there has to be some good in it, right? Like, it's like when a family member dies of a terrible disease. The bad is they died. The good is their soul's at peace. They're no longer in pain. There's always a good to a bad. And so I thought, okay, well, it's bad that I have this bill, but now it's good that it drives me to learn how to make even more money. And that's what, if that never, that's the best letter I ever got. Because if I never got that letter, I'd probably still be making 15 or 20 grand a month running an agency instead of, learning what I learned because I had to, which catapulted me into now where my company does $1 million months. In fact, one day, this happened once, I had $1 million freaking day, $1,020,000 in one day. And I never would have ever been able to do that if that, or it would have been unlikely if that bad thing didn't happen. So I always say, if it's good, great. If it's bad, how can we find the 180-degree positive to leverage that bad to make more good happen? And if you just stick with that mindset, because look, here's the deal, right? Everybody thinks that because they see so many millionaires easily becoming millionaires, that it's like some sort of sense of entitlement. Like, no, you don't deserve to be a millionaire. That is reserved for people that put in the work, that go above and beyond. The definition of an entrepreneur in Webster's dictionary is a person that takes on greater than normal financial risk to operate a business. Do you know how many people say they're an entrepreneur, but then they're like, oh, I don't want to buy coaching. I don't want to buy a mastermind. I don't want to go to an event. I don't need to go to a conference. It's like, dude, like, then you're a poser. You're not an entrepreneur, And so you got to have clarity into what you are, what you want, and how willing you are to do it. Because if you want to be a millionaire, you have got to solve 100 times more problems than the guy next to you, right? You get on the bus and you're driving down the road. You're the only one in the bus that has 1,000 problems to solve. Everybody else has got like 6. Right. And that's just the way it is. And I remember when I wrote about this in my book, I watched the movie The Martian with Matt Damon. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah. Great movie. Yeah.
So this is the best analogy I can ever see. I always tell this story because there's no better way to say it. He gets stuck on Mars. They have to come back and rescue him. He had to survive on Mars for a year, right? And then they had to do all this crazy space stuff to get him back. Well, at the end of the movie, he's talking to a group of NASA.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, well, that movie's like 10 years old. At this point, you're screwed. But it fast forwards, I don't know, a decade or two. And, he's older and he's talking to a group of NASA recruits. And he says, listen, at some point, everything's going to go south up there. And you're going to think, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can choose that fate and you could accept it, or you can do the math. You can get to work and you solve one problem, and then you solve another problem, and then you solve another problem, and then you solve another problem. If you solve enough problems, you get to come home. And I've always viewed entrepreneurship the same way. When you start a business, you're presented with a whole bunch of problems. And if you stop solving problems, your business dies. But if you keep solving problem after problem after problem, if you solve enough problems, you become a millionaire. Period.
Wow. That was awesome. In a second, I want to talk to you a little bit about, one, what your company is doing now and how you're helping people. Talk a little bit more about your book, and then we'll see where it kind of goes from there. Folks, if you're listening or watching right now, we are on with Dan Henry. He is a Wall Street Journal, USA Today best-selling author. His book is titled Digital Millionaire Secrets. You can pretty much find it anywhere. He is a social media rock star as far as I'm concerned. He is an e-commerce rock star. He's doing some great things, and he's got a great story as well. So, and for those of you who've got up to this point, if you heard what he said, I mean, he suffered, he dealt with a lot of adversity. He also turned that adversity into strength. And people always hear that saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And he is the epitome of that. And so if you'd like some more information about Dan Henry, you can just go to getclients.com. You can just find him right on Instagram. He's everywhere. He's obviously on Facebook. So just get the microphone just hit me in the face as I'm talking, but just go to getclients.com to learn a little bit more about him, or pick up his book, again, Digital Millionaire Secrets. It's available everywhere. Again, it's a Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestseller. So let's talk about your book. What inspired you to write the book and really put it out there? I've written, 6 myself, and it's a lot of work. And especially, I've hit Wall Street and USA 3 times, and it's not easy. Like, why did you write the book? And if someone picks up the book, like, what are they going to learn?
So I wrote the book because I saw that there were a lot of people out there that truly had the ability to help others with their advice, with something they knew. And I'll tell you the real reason I wrote it. It's because I know how to sell info. I know how to sell advice.
Right.
And we live in a world where it is socially acceptable and encouraged to pay $60, $70, $80, sometimes $100,000 per year, sometimes, to go to college, where you're going to spend 4 years learning how to do something that pays you $50,000 a year. And then when you get out of college, you end up working at Applebee's anyway. And with the exception of a few specific jobs like medical and law, that's usually what happens to people. And that's encouraged. And I believe it's because our formal education system has not raised the bar. They just haven't improved things fast enough. And there are thousands of people out there that have knowledge that can do their part, whether big or small, to change the world, to help somebody else. And if our formal education system will not raise the bar, then by God, we will do it ourselves. And I want to help people take what they know, turn it into a business, and help others. And so I wrote that book as a blueprint of, I basically said to myself, if I were to go back in time to when I was selling water bottles, and I was going to say, listen, you're going to build an 8-figure business selling your advice, but I want you to do it way faster, and I want you to make way less mistakes. Here's a manual. That book would be the manual. And so that is the reason I wrote the book. I wanted to put something out there that showed people, no fluff, right to the point, how to sell their advice the proper way. And when people buy that book, they often read it and then they become a client because they want help from my team implementing what's in the book. And that book has made us quite a bit larger and more profitable than we were previously. The book obviously became popular. A lot of people have become clients and joined our program since then. And so, it's great for my company because it gets us more business, but it's also great for just everybody that reads it because it's going to show you how to do that. And I even, as a nice bonus for people in that book, I did a day by day, hour by hour, like here's when I had breakfast. Here's when I had lunch. Here's what I did here. A blueprint for that first 30 days I told you about earlier, the 100,000 in 30 days. There's a chapter in the book called 30 Days to 100K, the Blueprint. I literally outlined and documented every single thing I did every day, and I put it right in the book. So,
It makes a lot of sense too, for those who are listening, who are thinking about writing a book, or if you're an author, if you're an entrepreneur, the information that you do learn is valuable to people. And it also can be used as a calling card or a business card. It can also be used to build credibility in your brand, and it's forever. And I found the same thing as well with my books. It opens a lot of doors. It puts you on a lot of different stages that you wouldn't normally be put on. So if you're thinking about that, it's something you should definitely consider as far as putting out a book. So I know you don't have a lot of time. You said you were straight out today, and again, I appreciate you coming on. So what exactly? So if I'm listening to you right now, I pick up your book. Like, what sort of businesses are going to hire you? Is it local? Is it national? Is it product? Is it information? What's really your sweet spot? I think I know the answer because you said it earlier, but I'm just for those listening right now and who are interested in your success and want your help. What's the perfect client for you?
it's anybody that wants to sell what they know online and make a business out of it. So this would be course creators, coaches, consultants, people that want to hold masterminds, people that create software, because like software in a way is also an info product as well. If you're an e-commerce seller, like meaning, like you said that I've done a lot with e-commerce. In the business, e-commerce generally means like physical products, which I've done a little bit with, but my main thing is selling information. But if you
I did not know that. I didn't. I get it.
Yeah. E-commerce means you sell physical products.
Oh, okay. All right.
I mean, I get in like 1990, e-commerce meant you sell anything online. But
all right. Yeah.
it's
been a while, yeah.
But if you're an e-com person where you sell physical products and you don't have some sort of info tied to it, you're losing money. Like I'll give you a perfect example. I'm coming out with a planner called the Plan Tomorrow Daily Planner. The name of the company is Plan Tomorrow. Well, when you buy that planner, you get a free productivity course with it. And that course gives you some amazing knowledge. And then it says, hey, if you would like to become a part of our legendary productivity program, you can go here to sign up. And so there's a back end info product to it. And so, let's say you make whatever you make selling physical products. If you sell a course that teaches them how to use those products better, or do something that those products contribute to, that is a $0 cost of goods. You record the lessons and it doesn't cost anything, right? It's done. And it's free money. It's free profit. And it could really pad your P&L. I can take almost any e-com company and double their profits without adding any physical products, just by adding a back-end info offer. So there's a lot of people we can help. But basically, if you're interested in selling advice, selling information, because the title of the book is Digital Millionaire Secrets, How I Built an 8-Figure Business by Selling My Knowledge Online. So that is specifically who I help, though we do help others. If you're an agency, if you're somebody that sells a premium product and you close over the phone, we have a program called High Ticket Selling. We help with them as well. But our bread and butter the majority of our clients, they sell some sort of, or want to sell some sort of information-based product.
I wanted to end it there, but I do have to ask you a couple more, because I think as I'm listening to you, I think others might have this question. So I have information, I want to sell it. Maybe I have a website. I've maybe kind of partially developed the course or what have you. Do you take people from idea to reality, or everything in between, or are you looking for somebody that has a course that's already kind of been developed?
No, in fact, one of the worst things you can do is develop a course before you sell it. We have a pretty unique process where we work with our clients to pre-sell a program that is taught live, so that A, you can make sure people want it before you go and waste time building it. And B, when you teach it live for the first time, you end up making a much better product, because anybody that says they can throw some video lessons together and think that their students are going to understand it and think it's going to be good, living in a dream world. We generally will do products where we teach them live and we get feedback and questions live and we adjust. And so when we do record the lessons, we not only know what we know, we not only teach it a certain way, but we get immediate feedback from the first batch of live students so that we can adjust it and make sure everybody in the future really truly understands it. To me, and this is like one of the problems I have with college, is they take textbooks, they write them, they put them out, they wait 20, 30 years, and then they go, is this working? We know if it's working immediately, and we can make it better and better and better. One of the biggest things I teach is product development, how to make a product better and better and better, because at the end of the day, your best sales tool is a great product with great reviews and great results. And that will work better than any marketing or sales tactic. And so we work with people right from the beginning. We work with people that already have a business in info. And we work with people that are already doing well in info and want to scale. Or if you have an info product you want to fix, or if you're starting from scratch and you need help developing a great offer from the ground up, we work with the entire spectrum.
I love it. I love it, man. Again, you're doing some great things. I'm super excited to have you on. I think we met, like we said, 5 years ago at the trade ones.
So maybe it was 2015 because no, I was at the trade wins. So you met me either right as I was taking off, or like,
I know it was early. It was definitely early.
It was early. Like I was doing well, but not like I am now.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't buying $2 million yachts. Yeah.
It's awesome to see, man. Again, just because I just on that random, one chance meeting, I met you, and I've literally watched you online, and we haven't really, talked much. It's just awesome to see, man. And congratulations on all your success. It's just, it's awesome to see.
Are you still local?
No. So I was just down on vacation. I'm in Boston.
Oh, you're in Boston.
Yeah.
Okay. Based on your hood, your
wicked happy.
Happy. I mean, I could have guessed what city.
Yeah, we're out of Boston, and I've gone back to Trade Winds a bunch of times. It's great. My daughter's getting a little bit older now, but yeah, that place is food.
So I bought a house right down the street from there in a yacht club community. It's a 8,000 square foot. This is the house right here. It's a
yeah.
I don't know if you can.
Oh yeah.
Here, look. See the water?
Oh, there it is. There's the water. Yeah.
Yeah. It's right. The Trade Winds is like right over there. I do like the area, but
it's awesome, man, to see. And it's interesting again, because I just remember that time when I saw you. I remember hearing you pitch. I remember telling my wife, and I was like, I got to just go watch this guy. And I think I just went up and introduced myself to you too. And I might have thrown off your mojo a little bit because you were doing your thing, but it's awesome to see.
You know what's funny about that? That was early in my career. I was there with a camera.
Yeah. Your girlfriend was running the camera.
Yeah. And I was filming, like, now I have this whole team and everything, but I was filming like social media and Facebook ads. But I was like thinking it would be awesome if I did it at the beach. It was so stupid because, like, you don't even need to do that. Like, I just do stuff wherever now and it works great. But I was all like, I bought this fancy camera and I was like thinking that would be amazing. And it's just funny to think back to that. Like, it didn't really matter, like I've recorded videos in my car and stuff, and they've done hundreds of thousands. It's just funny, when you look back and then this is what gets me is I see other people doing these same stupid mistakes. Like, I got to get this great logo. I got to make sure my customer dashboard or my course dashboard looks good, or I got to build a podcast before I sell anything. Got to have a podcast. And it's like, nope, not really, and it's because I've been through all that. So I like helping people and teaching people, most of being successful is choosing what not to do. In fact, Steve Jobs said, focus is not about choosing what to do. It's about choosing what not to do. So.
Yeah. And man, I keep telling you, I'm going to let you go. But what you said,
I think the Steve Jobs quote at you. So
what's so important in what you said too, and I have lived by the same exact principles. My first advertisement we shot in a basement in Gloucester, Massachusetts. I'm orange. The guy on the other side is pale. You could see the black backdrop. You could see we have what they call jump cuts. I'm sure you know what those are. Everything about it from a cinematographer's standpoint and just from aesthetically, it just was horrible. But the key is the content. and
Yeah,
the
keep
quality
the
of the content. And so you're right. I think it was a little bit of a gem right there for those listening. Again, what he's saying is focus on the content, right? Focus on the quality of the content and what you're delivering, and don't get caught up in some of the, the kind of the bells and whistles, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah. And I'll tell you this right now, if you're listening to this right now and you haven't made at least $1 million with your business, probably almost 90% of whatever you are focusing on and doing right now is you don't need to do. That's the number one thing I could tell anybody is if you're trying to be a successful entrepreneur, if you're trying to become a millionaire with your business and you haven't made $1 million yet, it's likely because most of what you're doing is unnecessary. I've never found an exception to that.
That's it. You know what? We're going to end it. I don't know what's going on with me. I have some depth perception going on here for those watching with my microphone. But we've been on with Dan Henry. Again, he is a marketing expert. He is an e-commerce, expert. He is an online expert. And he's doing some great things. We met years ago, and I've kind of watched him. The trajectory of his business and his success has just been awesome because, he's doing the right things. Like you said before, he's made some mistakes, and he's really showing people how not to make the mistakes. He's showing you how to kind of fast track your business. So if you're interested in what Dan's doing, you can just pick up his book. It's called Digital Millionaire Secrets. It's available everywhere. You can also go to getclients.com. You can find him obviously on Instagram. Dan Henry is obviously on Facebook. He's got a lot of different things going on. And I love everything that the information that he shared with us because, it works. They say sometimes the best experience is the experience of others. And he gave us a lot of that information here today on the Alden Report. So Dan, I want to thank you so much for coming on and being my guest. My name is Michael Alden, and we'll see you soon. Hey, it's Mike Alden. I hope you're enjoying the Alden Report as much as I am. I love bringing to you new and exciting people that add value to your life. I'm also super excited to announce my latest book, Bestseller Secrets. Listen, if you're an author, maybe you're thinking about writing a book, maybe you've already written a book, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to continue to grow your brand, maybe you're an entrepreneur and you want to bring in more leads, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom and you wrote a cookbook or a children's book, maybe you wrote a fantasy book, a self-help book, a tell-all book, a novel. It doesn't really matter. In my latest book, Bestseller Secrets, I give you all the information that I've literally spent millions of dollars trying to figure this thing out, and I'm going to give it to you absolutely free with my book, Bestseller Secrets. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. Again, it's bestsellersecretsbook.com. I give you all the information that I've spent literally millions of dollars trying to figure this whole world out. My books have gone on to do amazing things. I'm a 3-time Wall Street Journal, USA Today bestselling author. I've hit #1 on Amazon hundreds of times. My books have been the #1 book in the world against all books in every category. And I've also done this for other authors. And I'm giving you this information absolutely free. Just go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. You got to pay a small processing fee, but it doesn't really matter, again, because I've spent millions of dollars. And here's the other secret. You can do all this stuff yourself. If you don't have a team, that's okay. If you don't have a lot of time, that's okay. You read the information in my book, again, whether you just started writing a book, whether you've written the book, whether you wrote the book years ago, and you want to kind of resurrect it. In my book, Bestseller Secrets, I show you exactly what you need to do, and I'm giving you the book absolutely free. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com, download the book, take that information, use it to become a bona fide, legitimate #1 bestseller. I show you how to become a #1 bestseller in less than 24 hours. And again, I'm giving you this information for free. Go to bestsellersecretsbook.com. Again, it's bestsellersecretsbook.com.